Hey, this is Mr. Harrison here. I want to make a quick video showing you some mistakes I'm seeing and trying to help straighten some people out. Let's first start by looking at the pacing guide here. You can see that on the right. We should be this week. There's a good portion of you that are caught up or mostly caught up still in this week when I was grading this weekend, so you want to make sure that you are getting that done. So this week, again, working on 10, 11, and 12. I want to talk about this bug lab here, bug lab 4. So if you aren't that far, this will help you out a lot. And if you are, then I would hope that you would go back and check your journal entry when we're done with bug lab 4, because I'm going to point out some things that I think will help you make more sense of the comments I'm leaving in your journals. Make sure that you're reading those comments also, because those are the same comments that go home when I send the progress reports out each week. So you want to make sure that you know it's going to be there before it's there. And if we can get stuff straightened out, the comments will get better and better and better, and then the reports will be nicer, I guess. So let's look at this JCreator here. I wanted to look at the lab too. Okay, so we're looking at the lab. Here's bug lab 4. This is a big thing I hope you guys are noticing. This is a hint for getting this bug lab done, looking at chapter 11 of the old book. So that's where I have this. It's looking at chapter 11 of the old book. The big deal was for loops, using the initial, the control, and the step expressions correctly to make something happen that's repeatable. So if we are looking, this gives us good direction for that. Let's jump down to the task at hand. Some of us aren't summarizing this very well in our journals. Make sure that you are doing that. We read this all the way through, and we're supposed to just make the bug turn left. Okay? So in your summary, you would say something like, instead of turning 45 degrees to the right, the bug should always turn 45 degrees to the left. Okay? And they said further, if you read the whole thing, we want to make sure that we use a for loop. I don't want to just see turn 7 times. We want to make sure that we're using a for loop to get this done. So the bug lab just says, turn left, use a for loop to make that happen. That's all it says. But I want you to think of, instead of the most basic way to do it, which is what I have here, I want you to think of, that's a lot of blank space, I want you to think of how should I best organize this. Now this is the way most people solved it. They said, in the act method, during the else, which is generally when turn happens, instead of calling turn once, I'll call it 7 times, because we start at 0, we'll end at 7. That'll be a total of 7 times, I'll call it. And if we run this guy, you can see that basically, I mean, it's going to work, more or less. It'll solve the problem, seemingly solve the problem just fine. So my process is complete. I always do this first, build project, then run, make sure I don't have errors. And let's slide this over so that you guys can see what's going on here. So now, if I run this and I say step, 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 or hit run, this bug is turning left, and it looks like mission complete and all that kind of stuff. But really, it's not very good, and let me show you why. If we run this again, if we read carefully, we know it's supposed to always turn left. What we didn't change was turn. So if I actually call the method turn in here, where's turn at? It's right there. So if I call the turn method, it still turns right. We didn't change the way the bug turned. We changed the way the bug acted in the act method, which is the same thing as calling step or hitting the run button. It actually calls step on a loop, is what run does. So I changed the way it acted, not the way it turned. The direction is change the way it turns. So let's fix this bug. So if we're looking here in this code, and I apologize, this is kind of small. I'll figure out how to make this code bigger for later in future videos. But we need to then go ahead and make a turn method. So we're going to say public void turn. And we're going to redefine the way turn works. So what we need to do is basically steal this for loop, because that's really good code. It's just in the wrong place. So we're going to steal this, and I'm holding Shift Tab to make things go backwards so the formatting stays good. So public void turn. This is a brand new turn for the basic bug, just like this is a brand new act for basic bug. We are inheriting a great deal of code from bug. Like for example, move right now comes from bug. Why does it come from bug? Because we didn't define our own move method inside basic bug. Turn here comes from bug because we didn't define our own turn. Now that I've made a turn method, this turn would call this method because basic bug now has a turn. The way the compiler works whenever you see this extends is it looks first in the class for the method. If it can't find it, then it'll go look at the parent, the bug. And the point of the second semester is to really start to understand how these objects inherit and get their methods at runtime. So we're making a method. We call it public void, means return nothing, turn. So now we have this hierarchy of turn. Bug has a turn, actor has a turn, but the one that gets used depends on which object we're doing and how the inheritance works. Now, turn here, we don't want to make it recursive, meaning we don't want to call itself. We actually here, this turn, want to use the turn in bug. So if we want to go up a level and use the inherited version of turn, what we do is we just say super.turn. So now every time basic bug is called to turn, it'll call this method. And what this method does is call bug's turn on a loop. So then that means in here in act, I don't need this anymore. And generally what we want to do when we solve these bugs is we want to leave act for as much as we can to be exactly this every time. So if the bug moves differently, what we want to do is make a move method and overload it like I've done here, and maybe call super.move, but make sure we change it in a way. The bug lab that changes color, for example, you should overload move and use super.move and then count and then use a switch statement, and all of that's in move. So then it's not so messy. Act should be nice and small and clean. What do you want it to? If it can move, move. Move is going to be defined down here. Otherwise, turn, and turn should be turned down here if turn is any different. This is very clean and organized. Now we see if we compile this, hopefully I didn't make any typos, and we run it, our bugs will pop up. And now if I hit step, 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 it turns left. And if I right click on the bug and hit turn, it turns left. This bug does not turn right anymore. There's no way to get this bug to turn right because I changed the way the bugs turn. The bug can only turn left now. So you can see that this is a much better solution to the problem. Please, if I tell you to start thinking of object-oriented programming, overloading methods, and you get a 3.8 instead of a 4, if you're where you should be, you're all caught up, take the time to go back and fix those, because ultimately understanding how this hierarchy works in object-oriented programming, where you really think about the definition of the object and change it based on its definition and do those things, you're going to be a stronger programmer and you're going to score higher on the AP test. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say for you guys. Please, if you need help, you can contact me if you want. If you have Skype, I'm on Skype with GW Silverhand. I don't use Twitter much. Sometimes I'll send a broadcast before doing one of these, and you could watch it live. So Mr. Silverhand is also where the Twitch is. Again, if you watch it live, that's where it would be. And if you want to email me, you can use this, Joshua@ContactTeacher, and I will get that email. And then don't forget also the Blackboard IM. If you download that through Blackboard, I usually get on there most nights between 7 and 9 o'clock. So make sure that you're contacting me if you need help, and I hope that this video is helpful to you. That's it. Bye.